In this video, I'm going to share some of the most common questions I get as a vegan. What made you go vegan? So I watched a documentary on Netflix called Forks Over Knives, and after watching that documentary, I went plant-based overnight. This documentary changed my life. It was information that I had never heard about before, and basically they talk about how our number one killers such as heart disease, diabetes, cancer can be controlled and actually reversed by eliminating animal products from your diet. I also watched a video on YouTube called 101 Reasons to Go Vegan, and this is an hour-long video, but it is so comprehensive. It talks about the health aspects, the ethical reasons, and also the environmental reasons, just like an introduction, and I always recommend that to people who are looking for more information. Where do you get your protein? I get my protein the same place that the biggest, strongest animals on the planet get their protein. I get it from plants. I think that the majority of people have this obsession with protein, which is actually really detrimental to your health to get too much protein. And I think people need to be focusing more on where they're getting their fiber from. The majority of the population is fiber deficient, but have you ever heard of somebody having a protein deficiency? If you're getting an adequate number of calories, you are going to get enough protein. Won't I become B12 deficient if I go vegan? So the thing about B12 is actually a bacteria found in the soil. So the reason that you can get it from animal products is because the animal is eating the dirty water and soil, and then it's accumulated in their body, and most of the animals on factory farms are actually injected with B12. So that's how you can get it from meat. And B12 used to be really abundant in our soil when it was really mineral rich, but with modern farming techniques, the soil has actually been stripped of a lot of its nutrients, including B12. So unless you're growing your produce at home, you should supplement with a B12. B12 deficiency is actually a pretty common issue with the general public. It's not an issue with vegans. If the world went vegan overnight, animals would take over the planet. The world is not going to go vegan overnight. This is a supply-demand problem. We as consumers have the power. We vote with our dollar. The only reason that these animal products are being produced is because we are purchasing them. Nowadays, more people are choosing plant-based alternatives, which is increasing the demand for those products. So we see companies that are producing animal products also producing vegan alternatives, which is great. They don't care if they're producing animal products or vegan products, they just want to make money. Animals are not going to take over the planet. They are being bred because we are producing them for food. So if people stop supporting those industries, those animals are going to stop being bred to existence. It's going to be a gradual transition to a vegan world. Aren't we meant to eat meat? A lot of people like to say that humans are at the top of the food chain. But think about it. If you were put in a cage with a lion, would you still think you're the top of the food chain? A lot of meat eaters like to compare humans to lions. We have pretty much nothing in common with lions. We don't sniff other people's butts. We don't eat our own children. We are not carnivorous. When a lion sees an animal bleeding out, it gets hungry. When we see an animal being slaughtered, it disgusts us. We have to wait until the product is disguised. There's no relation to what it used to look like. If you put a child in a playpen with a bunny and an apple, the child will eat the apple and play with the bunny, not the other way around. We have to use tools to eat our meat. Why did they invent a steak knife? Another thing is we are considered the most intellectually advanced species on the planet. And we have figured out that these animal products are causing our #1 diseases, why are we still eating them? Don't plants have feelings too? Plants have no brain and they don't have a central nervous system, so they cannot feel pain. Yes, they are alive, they respond to stimuli, but they are not sentient. Why can't we just eat humane meat? All animals, factory farm animals and free-range animals, end up having the same fate. They're all sent to the same slaughterhouse. And I've heard interviews from slaughterhouse workers who say that they can tell which animals were raised on a luscious green farm. These animals were a lot more petrified and they resisted the kill floor as much as they could. The factory farm animals were so used to being mistreated, it was just another day for them. And my question for people who say humane meat is, how do you humanely kill somebody who doesn't want to die? I've never heard an answer to that question. But isn't eating meat part of our culture? There are a lot of things that were part of our culture that are not part of our culture today. The human race is always evolving, and things we used to do in the past, such as not giving women rights, enslaving people, being racist, those things are not acceptable today. The only difference is the oppressed were people before, and now the oppressed are animals. We need to stop conditioning young children to think that a pig and a cow are food, and a dog and a cat are pets. Isn't being vegan so hard? Being vegan has never been so easy. There are so many alternatives to animal products that you can buy at your grocery store now. Restaurants are offering more vegan options. It's becoming so much more acceptable in our society to be vegan. It's being normalized. And yes, changing your lifestyle is going to be difficult in the beginning, but it takes about 21 days to break a habit. And trust me when I say this, you can change your taste buds. After about 3 weeks of eating plant-based, you will not crave those animal products anymore. Yes, dairy is the hardest thing to give up, but that is because dairy is full of these addictive compounds called casomorphines. They have an opiate-like effect on the brain, and the reason they're in dairy is to keep the calf coming back to the cow for more milk. Eating an animal product just because it tastes good, it's not more important than the animal's life. What are some benefits of going vegan? So for your health, when you go vegan, and I'm talking about a whole food plant-based diet, rich in fruits, vegetables, legumes, nuts and seeds, potatoes, rice, you will see benefits in terms of your acne clearing up, you reaching your ideal weight, your digestion will be a whole lot better because you're eating so much fiber and things just flow through you a lot better. You will not be consuming any dietary cholesterol, which is not necessary for the human body. We make all the cholesterol that we need. You will be cutting back tremendously on saturated fat, and these two things cause our #1 killer, heart disease. You will be consuming a lot more phytochemicals, antioxidants, just a lot more vitamins and minerals. Some benefits in terms of the environmental impacts. When you consume a plant-based diet, you are using far less resources from our planet. Animal agriculture contributes more greenhouse gases than the transportation sector combined. Watch Cowspiracy if you want to know more about that. About 91% of the Amazon rainforest has been destroyed because of factory farming, and scientists estimate that by 2048 we could have fishless oceans. And the best benefit of all is to your mental health. 150 billion animals are slaughtered every single year. Knowing that you're not contributing to the suffering and death of innocent, sentient beings is a good feeling. You may not feel like you're making a difference, but you are. If you are vegan, the best thing you can do is to be active. Share this information with people. I know that only about 3% of the population has switched to a plant-based diet, but I honestly believe it's because people don't know this information. It's been hidden for so long because these industries, the meat, dairy, egg industry, are the most powerful industries on the planet. They have so much money. But the great thing is we have the truth on our side. So now in 2018, it's crazy how much information there is on veganism. There are so many amazing documentaries and books. The documentaries I would recommend, again, for health would be Forks Over Knives and What the Health. For environmental reasons to go vegan, watch the documentary Cowspiracy. All three of those are on Netflix. And then for the ethical reasons to go vegan, there's Earthlings, which is a little bit older. Then there is Lucent, which is Australia. Dominion just came out this year, Australian footage, and Land of Hope and Glory, which is UK footage.